this probably isn't exactly advisable. I can't see the car. There it is. Okay. Yeah, I'm good. So, what do you make a video about? The only thing I've got on my mind is a guy named G.K. Chesterton. And today I looked up G.K. Chesterton because I just recall reading his quotes and just finding them so striking. Just so astounding. He's like a brilliant, really a top-level writer, right? And a philosopher. And a Christian, really kind of an aggressive Christian. Bit in your face about it. Like he didn't mince words. He thought that people should live in accordance with what the Bible said because it comes from God. Like he actually believes that. It just seems so implausible to the rest of us, but some people are capable of it, and I don't hold it against people as much as I might once would have. But yeah, I'm going to get into G.K. Chesterton, and I'm going to weave it into my subject as well. And it's not that difficult to do because, let's see if I can think of an example of one of the things that he said. Like I just slotted out of like turn of the 20th century. So it's, over 100 years old, I think. Maybe not all of it, but like it's around 100 years old. British guy. He was at one time, like anyone in Britain knew his name because they were more interested in trends in philosophy. People paid attention to that. People would have known him. But he was also a crime writer, so he was a crime writer and a poet and a Christian. Nowadays we'd call him an apologist, but he's not. He's definitely not apologizing for anything. I've realized that as nuts as religions are, they keep people together. Absolutely, they keep people together. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, one of the things I can just slot out of his circumstance is the one. It's really essential that people become educated in order to not be bamboozled by the educated. I mean, that is just dead on. I didn't say it the way that he did it, obviously. But to that effect, this is a time in which we have to pursue education in order to not be lied to so easily by the people with official qualifications. That's what he said 100 years ago. So what was the circumstance? It just makes you curious. Why would he say that? What was happening? I think that probably what he saw happening was the beginning of fascism. I bet you that's what he was thinking about when he was saying that kind of thing. At another point he said, the best thing to do is cry out before you're attacked. To cry out before you're attacked. I think the implication is that then you may not be attacked at all. But the crux of what he was saying, if I can remember, I'm trying to hold the camera steady. I forgot what I was talking about. Okay, so I was saying that we'll all be bamboozled unless we become educated to know that we're being bamboozled by the educated. He's a kind of like a paradox. I think they called him a paradox queen. I think I don't know why they call him that, but he was the paradox queen, as I remember. Maybe it was king or prince, but somehow queen stands out. He dresses like guys do today. It was really weird. He's an amazing looking person. You should see him when he's younger. Like, he's really an interesting looking person. But he was, a style that he was wearing like 100 years ago. I see the hipsters wearing today. It's kind of interesting. So what else did he say? Yeah. What was the other? I had a really good one in there for a second. What are the kinds of things that he said? Something he said about the rich is that to be rich, you have to be smart enough to get rich. But you do. If you get rich, you probably had to be smart to get rich. So you got to be smart to get rich and dull enough to want it. Because he thinks it requires two things. One is intelligence, and that you be dull enough that you really wanted to have all that much money. Which is a weird attitude if you ask me. Money's king. Money's fantastic. Money gets things done. You can have what you want with money. To say that you're not interested in money, so I'm sort of disagreeing with G.K. Chesterton, actually. I don't think they have to be dull at all. It depends what you'd want to spend your money on. And I know what I would, if I fantasized about this. If I had $1 billion and could spend it any way that I wanted, I would spend a lot of it. I might spend all of it, because who needs that much money? Defending my cause. I would, okay, yeah, that's what it was. Now I recall. He's saying that you should cry out before you're injured. And that's because, and what he said was because if you don't, what you do is you wake up and you realize you're too late because you're already being tyrannized. That's the word he used, tyrannized. If you don't take it seriously enough at the beginning, then you wind up you're being tyrannized. Then that can't continue, and we are being tyrannized. People lose jobs just for the little difference of opinion.
Difference of opinion.
And the smallest statement of that. Like, there was a hockey player. He eventually got fired because he liked a tweet. I guess the tweet was a little bit forceful, but people have strong opinions on it, right? He just liked the thing, and apparently it was on Instagram, so it'd only be on there for a day. And they latched onto him and got him kicked out. And the thing is that, like, at this point now, there's just so many examples of cancel culture that you can't, with any intelligence say that it doesn't happen a lot, and that everybody's afraid of it. Everybody's afraid of it, that's for sure. So that's tyranny. That's a real aspect of tyranny, is you have people that are afraid to talk. Well, that's a tyranny. It's a tyranny in a lot of ways. You saw their tyrannical attitude in relation to the trucker convoy. Again, it's just the idiocy of the Trudeau government in relation to the trucker convoy, right? Because he had all of those people there. They're really angry at him. And what did he do? He ignored them and then insulted them. He was trying to provoke violence. Either he was trying to provoke violence, or he's too dumb to understand that would provoke violence. And they weren't violent in return. He provoked them and they weren't violent. That's how dedicated to peace they were. The horn honking is unfortunate, and this coot stuff is pretty weird. I agree. But no, the cops and them, they were already leaving, and the cops and them had an idea that they could resolve it just through talking. And Trudeau called it no plan at all. And ordered it anyway. That's, if you say no to dialogue, then you're saying yes to violence, and that's exactly the opposite of democracy. Democracy is purpose is to avoid violence. That's its main purpose. If it's not doing that, it's not working. It's one of its main purposes. It allows civilization because you can bring reason and evidence to bear on decisions that need to be made collectively. We acknowledge that if the facts and reason point in a particular direction, well, then you're screwed, buddy, because that's what we make decisions upon. It's the basis of our civilization. I mean, even that's like shut down. Like, you can't say things that are true. Like, the idea of democracy is that together we're supposed to be cooperative enough to work things out, right? Well, look how divided we are. In the United States, the Democrats are trying to put the presidential candidate in jail. It's weaponization of the justice system, obviously. Whatever else, him being guilty or whatever. I don't know. I don't think that most people have a strong opinion of it, know anything about it. That's what I think. Like, how many of them know that the riot prevented there was just a lot of lawmakers who had real questions about the election. And the other thing is that the system is based on, I don't know actually how it works, but they send representatives, and it's not entirely based on the vote. That I know, which is a really weird thing. I don't know exactly how they did that, but yeah, so there were a lot of people in Congress that day because he had to make a decision whether or not to call him president. So people were there to object to the idea, and there was a lot of them, and they were lawmakers. They're Congress people, senators, or whatever they call an MP in the United States. I don't know what it is. Like a member of parliament. They sent them there. And that's the normal procedure, the MPs go and vote. And I think there was about a third of them that really wanted more discussion, because there's no way it was a fair election. You're going to have a fair election with, one side's got Google on their side, Amazon, and YouTube, and Facebook, and Twitter. Just on that basis alone, he had all those groups of people against him. Whether it's a conspiracy or whatever else it is, if you've got all those against you, and you did, and the educational system and the mainstream media against you, that's what he had running against him. And so there should have been a discussion, there should have been a vote, it should have been a dragged out process to determine whether or not Biden had won fairly. There's just no way. Legally, I guess, who knows how legal minds work, but there's no way. Absolutely no way. Mark Zuckerberg contributed $500 million to his election, and you think that you had to hire people to go out in the areas where they thought they could, get people who were going to vote for the Democrats. And that's what they did. They just went to all these Democrat places and made sure everybody voted Democrat. Hired them to work at the election thing, hired them to deliver flyers, set up a board, put up posters and stuff around. Talk about all the money they're going to get if they win, right? They'll spend it in the community. So that's what they did. Mark Zuckerberg spent $500 million doing that. Right? Yeah, now they want to put him in jail. It's the most divisive thing you could do. If at that point, you're almost, in a sense, declaring war, because you're weaponizing the legal system against the representative that you want. So you're living in a tyranny. That's another thing. Just tyranny is written all over it. What's happening now? There's tyranny written all over. Doing it all the time. In this case, in the United States, they're trying to tyrannize the population by not allowing them to vote for the party that they want or for the person that they want. Actually, I don't care what happens to Trump. As long as it's DeSantis or somebody like that, then the United States will have a chance. Right now, it doesn't have a chance.